of our soldiers fighting the wars in Iran, in Gaza, in Lebanon, all over the world. Hashem will protect them and guard them, Be'ezat Hashem, and Hashem ilachem lachem v'atem tacharishun. You know, God promised, if you're with me, I'll fight for you. Don't worry. So Be'ezat Hashem, today is a very interesting parasha, Parashat Shalach Lecha. And you know, this is, Mr. Rav asked a question earlier, which parasha is the most important in Torah? Everything is important in Torah.
Yeah.
You know, everything. The Torah has 304,805 letters.
Yeah.
Every letter is important just as the next. And that's really the name of Hashem. The real name of Hashem is the entire Torah. Did you say that?
To say it in one breath.
You know, the Gaon from Vilna read the Torah backwards by heart. Imagine.
Backwards.
Backwards by heart.
What did he drink?
Huh?
He did that by heart.
It had the Ruach HaKodesh. So, you know, this is a parasha. I want to honor this parasha also in the memory of Rabbi David Liniado ben Renee and his wife, Be'ezat Hashem. Forgive me, I forgot her name. But Moshe, I will add it later. Be'ezat Hashem Katuv, it says in the Torah, Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, shelach lecha anashim. God says to Moshe Rabbeinu, shlach lecha anashim. Send for you, not for me. Okay? The word shelach also means chalash, weak. Moshe Rabbeinu, right now, by the way, this is the 29th of Sivan, the second year of the desert. The people of Israel now is, you know, just had the whole story of Miriam that we just heard last week. Miriam spoke ill of Moshe.
Right.
He spoke to Aaron, and the Torah says, Pitom, all of a sudden Hashem gathered them, and he said, how dare you speak of Moshe like this, my servant? And all of a sudden Miriam became completely leprosy all over her body, head to toe, white, kashelik, it says in the Torah. The Gemara will tell us that whoever speaks Lashon Hara, three people are hurt instantly. The one that speaks, the one that listens, and the one that's spoken about.
Right.
So now, this is really the cause for all the problems that are about to happen. You know, last parasha, we had even the people complaining we want meat, right? And we want fish.
Yeah, they got meat
But
up
then
in
they
the
add
end.
a few other things, like a grocery list. Say we want the, we want the onion, and we want the cucumbers,
Melon.
and we want the melon, we want the leeks, we want the onion. What is these things? Why specifically they ask for those things? So, you know, every time you see in the Torah, Ha'am is not the Israelis, the Erev Rav. Every time you see in the Torah Ha'am, it doesn't speak about the people of Israel. The Ha'am is the Moshe Rabbeinu who took the multitude, right? He took the Egyptian that joined the people of Israel. They were always complaining, right? It even says the fire came b'ktzeh machane. The fire burnt the Erev Rav. Every time you hear Ha'am or Am is the Erev Rav. Every time you hear Bnei Israel or Ami is the people of Israel, my children.
So why would Moshe even bother with it? If that's the case, it's let him.
Very good, great question. Moshe Rabbeinu saw something in Ruach HaKodesh. He was reincarnation of Hevel. Moshe, the letter Moshe, Mem, Moshe, Shin, Shet, and then Hey, Hevel. Because he was murdered, he saw in Ruach HaKodesh that all his, generation will go to Egypt, and he bring them back to do, basically, make them Jews, Hebrews. He brought all the Arabs because when Cain murdered Hevel, what Hashem says to him? Dameh achicha, the bloods of your brother, calling upon me from the earth. Moshe brought them all back to convert them. Erev Rav. Chamushim alu. They said that for every Hebrew that came out, 5 of them came. And they were really the one that was complaining. But we said, what is this grocery list? So the Zohar explains something beautiful. The Zohar says that they said it on purpose because any pregnant woman that hear that want it. And that's the worst thing for a pregnant woman. Women pregnant cannot eat fish, cannot eat watermelon,
Pickles
cannot
Watermelon
eels.
they can
Yeah.
eat.
Huh?
Pickles and ice cream.
No, it's not good for the baby. That's what the Zohar says.
Watermelon?
But let's continue. I'm sorry?
No.
So Hashem, now Moshe Rabbeinu, by the way, we learned last parasha that there were two prophets that had a prophecy. You know, Hashem says to Moshe, because Moshe says, I cannot handle all these people. Hashem says to him, bring me 70 elderly, and I will actually have them your helper to be. And Moshe says, great, give them a Ruach HaKodesh. He said, no, I will take from you and I'll give them to them. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu has such power of Kedusha that he can take 70 elderly, Hashem will take from him and put upon them. And at the end, there was two left that had a prophecy.
Milda, yeah.
Who?
Mildo.
No, Eldad Umeidad.
Meldad.
Eldad Umeidad. Who is Eldad Umeidad?
I heard him.
Eldad Umeidad is half brothers of Moshe and Aaron and Miriam. When Abraham, the father of Aaron and Moshe and Miriam, left his wife, you know, when Pharaoh says all the boys sent into the river, he left his wife. He was the head rabbi of Israel in Egypt. All the men left their wives. They said, we don't want to have babies and throw them into the river.
So he had babies with someone else.
True. Miriam convinced her father, says, what are you doing? You're worse than Pharaoh. He says, how? He says, Pharaoh kills only boys, you kill boys and girls. In the meantime, his wife, the holy Yocheved, got remarried to the president of Zevulun, El-Safan, and had two children, Eldad and Meidad.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And Eldad and Meidad had a prophecy that Moshe is not going to come to the land of Israel. So they took it immediately, this knowledge, to the presidents, the 12 presidents. Moshe knew that he's not coming to the land of Israel from before. When Hashem sent Moshe to, after the Mount Sinai revelation of the burning bush, Moshe went and they made the worst Pharaoh for the people of Israel. And Moshe says, Elohim, lama ri'ota lahem? Why did you make it so bad for them? You told me you're going to help them. Elohim in Gematria, in acronym, it says, Elohim says, Amarta lama hari'ota lahem, Yoshua machnisam. You said, why did I make it bad for them? This is your punishment. You're not coming. Joshua will bring them to the land of Israel. So Moshe knows he's not going to the land of Israel.
You mean it had nothing to do with hitting the stone?
No, that's the later. There were 6 of the sins that he did. But, you know, originally, Hashem told him to hit the stone and water came out. This time, 40 years later, he said to speak to the stone. Right? As Mark Glaser, the attorney, taught me that, you know, the stone of Miriam, it's called the rolling stone. You know, it's a stone that rolled with them for 40 years. You know, the band, the Rolling Stone, came from the stone of Miriam.
Yeah, when you look at them.
Yoshua brought it and put it in the Kinneret, by the way. Yoshua brought the stone and put it in the Kinneret. That's why all the tzaddikim buried next, Rabbi Meir Balanes, Rabbi Akiva, all of them,
Rambam.
they buried Rambam a little further. But yes, in Tiberias, you know who buried next to the Rambam?
No, Akiva.
No, Rabbi Akiva is next to Rabbi Meir. The Rambam is Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, it was the one that actually restored the Torah after the destruction of the temple.
Yavne,
Yeah, he created Yavne and whatnot. So now Moshe, he says to Hashem, I want to send spies. Hashem says to him, Shlach lecha, send for you, not for me. I know what I'm giving the people of Israel. Eretz zavat chalav udvash. And he says, Shlach lecha anashim veyaturu et Eretz Canaan. And then, Asher ani noten livnei Israel. So if you see, you have 2 names to the land of Israel here. Canaan, meaning the people that are going to speak ill of it. Now we have about 10 tribes that will already plan ahead not to speak good of the land of Israel and go themselves. And then there will be actually the rest of the people of Israel later on will come to the land of Israel. So Canaan is for the bad people. When Israel will receive the land of Israel for the good people. Vayaturu, you know, in Hebrew, Vayaturu, you know, the English word to tour, come from Hebrew.
Teacher?
Latur, you know, to tour, to go tour somewhere, to be a tourist, right? Come from the word Vayaturu. There's 2 kinds of tourists. There is a spy and there is a tourist. Hashem says, go be a tourist, don't be a spy. Go enjoy the land, see what I'm giving you. I know what I'm giving you. Ish echad lamate. Technically, we have 2 groups here. 12, we have 12 tribes, Ish, and then another Ish. So the Zohar says something amazing. If you see here, the people that we just read in this parasha have very odd names, the spies, right? The president. There's all kinds of hidden names. One is a liar, one is a, here, for an example. It says you have Gadiel ben Sodi, a guy that will keep a secret. Menashe ben Gadi ben Susi, like a horse, listens to everything. You know, a horse, you can take him over the cliff, he'll jump with you. Whatever you say to the horse, will do. And then you have Asher Satur ben Michael, something to hide. All the names reveal a lot of secrets to who they are.
But these are all the high level.
Very high level
Okay.
president
Okay.
that can actually create the calendar of the Jewish people. You know, to be able to create calendar is the highest level of Kedusha. Moshe Rabbeinu taught how to do it. Today, NASA agree with the calendar of the Jewish people from the days of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's 0.008 of a second different from the calendar of the Jew. They say the best calendar is the Jewish people calendar. So it says something
Why are we
amazing.
always late?
Huh? Because we're Jews. So it says something
Every 19th
amazing.
year we
It
come
said,
in
why
front.
do we have two groups? Ishlamate, Ishlamate. She said, just said Ishlamate. There's 12 tribes. So the Zohar says something amazing. Moshe Rabbeinu chose, as we know, Hashem says send the thing, but then Moshe Rabbeinu, basically Hashem revealed to him and says, there is another set here that you don't see them. When the tribe of Israel and the 10 ones sold Yosef, remember Yosef was sold? First was they wanted to kill him technically.
Yeah.
Then they put him into the pit. Then came the Ishmaelite, the Midianite, the whole negotiation, sold to Egypt. After 17 years, we know, Yosef was 17 when he was brought to Egypt, and when he was 30, he became the king. And when he became the king, there was famine in the land of Israel. And Yaakov sent his children, says, go to Egypt. Right? And when they came through 12 different entrances. Egypt has 12 gates. And then, of course, anybody comes, the king knows who's coming. So, the children of this, king of Israel, Jacob is here. So bring them all in. And when they bring them, Yosef says something very odd to them. Yosef says to them, Meraglim atem, you are spies. Et ervat haaretz batem, you came to find me in the dirtiest place on Egypt. What do you think? I left Hashem? No. He just hint to them yet, Meraglim atem, you are spies. The Zohar says Yosef actually punished them to be the 10 spies here and the 10 martyrs that Aspasianus will murder, Rabbi Akiva and his friends. Why? How Yosef can punish such punishment? The Gemara says that Yosef gave them 5 chances to do tshuva. When they came to Egypt, right? He said, first, we have keeping, as we know, originally Shimon. Why Shimon? Because Shimon is the one that pushed him into the hole, into the pit. Shimon was very strong. And then he said, go, bring Binyamin, replace Shimon. He kept Binyamin. Every time they came, he gave him a chance to do tshuva. They never did tshuva. And then when he revealed himself after Yaakov
Judah
came,
did.
huh?
Judah did.
Yehuda did the tshuva. No, he actually did the tshuva not to kill him. Yehuda says, let's take him out, and he's gone. It was too late already. Yehuda did
It
tshuva
speaks
with
for Benjamin.
Yehuda did tshuva with Tamar, not with Yosef.
Well, for Benjamin, he was said, take me.
Yeah,
Don't take my
but it's not a
brother."
tshuva to Yosef. It's for his guarantee to his father.
Well,
That's not a tshuva.
yeah.
And I'll show you in a minute.
Okay. I'm waiting.
So now Yosef revealed to them, I'm Yosef. Aod Avinu Chai. I am your brother. Now you know who I am. I'm the king, but I'm still Yosef. They didn't say tshuva. They didn't say, I'm sorry, we wanted to kill you, we threw you into bed, we sold you, I'm sorry. They didn't say that. This is now the 3rd time. Now, as we know, Yaakov passes away, 147 years old. They take him to bury in Israel. It's the biggest funeral in the history of the world. The entire Egypt came, but when it comes to the border of Israel, only the tribes went in. Now they're coming back. Yosef takes them to exactly where they drop him in the hole. He takes them to the hole that they dropped him back to Egypt, but he stops in Dothan. and he looks at the hole like this. The brother Yosef is looking at the holes that was put in
The pit.
when he was 17 years old. Now the brothers around him, nobody says we're sorry. Yosef giving them another chance, the fourth time. Look, remember this hole you threw me here? Nobody says anything. Then they come to Egypt. They send Leah to Yosef, and they lied. They said to Yosef, our father Yaakov said, don't hurt us after he passed. Don't take revenge on us. Yaakov never said that. The fifth time, they didn't even apologize. It says, Meraglim atem, you are spies. He said, this will be the neshamot of the spies. How many brothers were involved in the sale of Yosef? 10. Those are the 10. How many spies do we have? 12. The two guys, Yoshua and Caleb ben Yefuneh. You know who was the wife of Caleb ben Yefuneh? Miriam. Yes. So let's continue. Ishlach otam Moshe mimidbar Paran. He said, go through the desert. Kulam anashim Rashe Israel. Like he said, they're all heads of Israel. And it says, Al pi Adonai, meaning that even God respected them. They were presidents, right? Kulam anashim. Ve'ele sheva, they give the name. And then he says to them something very interesting. He says that, Moshe does something amazing. He takes Yoshua, originally was Hoshea, and he add the letter Yud to him, Yehoshua. Yoshua was very hard-headed. Like he always thought, even when the Eldad and Medad, were prophesizing, it's just, let's put him in jail, let's kill him, let's do. Moshe says, no, chaz v'chalila, I wish everybody was a prophet. Then my job will be easier. And of course, Yoshua, Hashem add the letter Yud in order to protect him. Yud is the letter of Hashem. Right? Caleb ben Yefuneh is a holy of holies, just so you know, more than Yoshua. But we'll see in a minute. It says, Negev. Go through the south. Negev in the letters Ganav. Is the letter, if you rearrange, the Torah has no vowels. Right? You can change the letter to all the meaning of the letter. They say, like thieves, go like thieves. Ganav, Negev. And it says, and said, look, if this is a strong country or not, how is this country? And what kind of towns are those? Are they fortress or not? If they're camps or not? Then he asked them something very weird. He says to them, check for me if there's a tree, one tree. That's what the Torah says. Hayesh ba'etz imayin v'itchasten. Look for one tree. So the Zohar says, what kind of tree was Moshe was talking about? He said the tree of life. Because Gan Eden is in Israel. Adam and Chava were put in Gan Eden, Mikedem, in the land of Israel, by Yerushalayim. Now we don't see it. But he says, look for the tree of life. If the tree of life is there, I'm not dying, I'm coming in. But if you don't find it, it's okay. Meaning days of Mashiach, you'll see it. And then we see that the spies come in there, and they says this is really Vayalu vayatiru ta'aretz and Vayalu b'negev. Right? They went like Moshe says, go through the south, through the Negev, and then it changes from plural to singular. It says Vayavo at Hebron. It should say Vayavo, 12 of them should come to Hebron. No, Vayavo at Hebron is only Caleb ben Yefuneh. Caleb says, look, Moshe changed the name of Yoshua, gave him protection. What about me? He went to Me'arat HaMachpelah, Hebron, and he leaned on Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov burial and asked for them to help him. And he says that, he saw Sham, 3 giants, Achiman, Shashai, Vetalmai. There were giants. The first giant was saved in Noah, right? The Noah's Ark. We have Og. Og, the giant, was hanging out, right, from the outside. And Noah says, if Hashem wanted him dead, he will kill him. But if he's not, I should help him. And he fed him. He's also known as the Palit, with the story of Abraham, with the World War, the 5 and 4 kings. That was him. And Og Melech HaBashan, they started how Og was born. It says that there was the Nephilim, right? The angel, Azza and Azael. There were 2 Nephilim, 2 angels, giants that came to earth and had a relationship with the earth, with the womanly earth, right? Because they complained to Hashem, says, what is all this craziness, this 6 crimes in the generation of Adam? He said, you don't know. He said, we want to go try it. They called the Nephilim, the giant that fell from heaven to earth, and they actually sinned too. And they had children, giants. Those 3 giants are the children of Og Melech HaBashan. 3 giants. And it says that their name is Achman, Shashai, Vetalmai, Yelidei Anak. And it says here, V'chevron 7 shanim livneta lifnei Tzoan. So I want to go just to briefly to what's happening here. How you have such rabbis, you know, those head of tribes, the rabbis, Rav Rashi for every tribe. They can make a calendars, meaning they have the most powerful knowledge of Torah. They know the name of Hashem, the name Hashem HaMeforash. Yet they go in and they actually cultivating an amazing plan for their own good, not to go to the land of Israel. This is the first dirty politician in the world. You know, the head tribes understood something. They say, because you know, the parasha will come and says, Ki tavo el haaretz, when you come to the land of Israel, Som tasim alecha melech, you should have a king. So they knew that immediately they will be fired. There's no more presidents, no more power. You know, if you remember the gifts that the president gave in last parasha, before Ba'alotcha, they gave so much. They were so rich, so powerful. Remember they complained about the meat we said. Hashem says, don't worry, I'll give you so much meat, it'll come out of your nose. Hashem sent them a very interesting bird. You heard of the quail?
Quail, yeah.
The quail is the only animal in the world because they complain about meat and fish. They wanted meat and fish, right? Surf and turf, right? But you know, they had hundreds of thousands of cattle. What do you mean you need meat?
Right.
You have cows, you have whatever you want. Millions, really, they took out of Egypt. Right? What do you mean you need the meat? And the fish. Because we used to have it chinam. Chinam, they say we don't have to bless anyone. We didn't have blessing, we didn't have a bracha rishona, bracha achrona. So Hashem sent them a quail. You know, quail is the only animal in the world that tastes like meat and fish. And they gave it to them for 30 days until most of them died because they had such ta'ava. It's called kivrota ta'ava.
What's that?
Ta'ava means towards something that's, you know, there's 2 kinds of, there is love with ahava, aleph, the beginning, that's true love. And there's ahava, love just for the good of it, ta'ava. Like you don't, that's the last letter, right? They wanted something at the end. They don't really care about the process. They want to just, you know, when people want, I want the best steak, I want the best car. You can have a simple steak. You can have a, you know, most of the Tanaim used to have a piece of bread and salt and water. That's it, right? But in a sense, this ta'ava, they became such a, greedy. They said, we don't want to go to the land of Israel. So we are so powerful here in the desert. We have so much. We have the man. You know, the man, you can taste like anything you want. We have the well of Miriam. You can taste like anything you want. And we have the clouds of glory. Because originally you're supposed to get the 10 Commandments and within 11 days go to the land of Israel. That's it. But they said, no, we don't want to go in. They came and start saying Lashon Hara on Israel. Lashon Hara, as we know, they were there for 40 days, from the 29th of Sivan until Tisha B'Av. They came back on Tisha B'Av and start lying about the land of Israel and saying all these bad things. Meaning they already planned not to go in. Hashem says to them, you cry for no reason. On that day, on Tisha B'Av, I will give you a reason to cry for eternity until Mashiach. Every disaster happened to Israel was on Tisha B'Av. We have the first destruction of the temple, the second destruction of the temple, all the Gerushim, all the the Spanish Inquisition, the Byzantines, the English Inquisition, the French Inquisition, even removing, when they gave back Gush Katif was on Tisha B'Av. The first Tisha B'Av in the world, what happened, the first disaster?
First time.
Cain murdering Hevel was Tisha B'Av. The second Tisha B'Av that's happened bad, Yaakov actually made a deal with Esav. When Yaakov made Esav was Tisha B'Av. and he bowed to him 7 times. For that we'll have 7 wars that come from the children of Esav. And this here is Tisha B'Av. And of course, we know Kollel ben Yefuneh jumps in and says, no, this is a great land. What are you talking about? Everything that Hashem did for them, like all the funerals that happen, is to really destruction so they can really see the land. The Zohar says that there was a guy named Eov. Eov was at the time in Israel, and he was so righteous that he made all the blessing for Israel. And Moshe says, the Etz, Eov also known as Utz. He said, look for Eov too, if Eov is there. And Eov died. By the way, Moshe wrote the book of Eov, Job. Moshe wrote it. So we have the 2 spies, Yoshua and of course Kollel ben Yefuneh, that spoke good of the land of Israel. And really, for the next 40 years, everybody that believed in the spies will die. The whole generation of the desert will pass in the desert, including the heads of those tribes. They died actually immediately on Tisha B'Av. That day, Hashem killed them all. The special worm came out from their tongue, swallowed it, and went into their stomach, and they all died. The rest will die every year. 2,100 and 427 Hebrews will die every Tisha B'Av. They will go and dig their graves and get in, and if they, some of them died, they cover them. The other one come. It started from the oldestly, the elderly, from the 60 down, until after 40 years, 39 years to be exact, all the old generation is gone, and the new generation will come to the land of Israel with who? Kollel ben Yefuneh and Yoshua ben Nun. And the Haftarah of this week, as you see, is Yoshua sending 2 spies to Jericho. He sends Pinchas and Kollel ben Yefuneh. So Be'ezrat Hashem. Remember, Hashem gave us Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash. Right?
Yeah.
We mess it up, not him. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Renee bat Moshe, לעילוי נשמתה, ורבי דוד לניאדו. Thank you so much.